Hello there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aaron and I like to make things out of old toys and model kits. I've had this 1/24th scale Millennium Falcon kit on my shelf for a while now and thought it would be fun to incorporate it into my Star Wars Dark Universe. The Dark Universe is my own world where over the past couple of months I've been making dioramas, spaceships that are a spin on the actual Star Wars universe. Hey, if Disney can do it, so can I. The planet Plex is a mining planet where only the worst, baddest outlaws reside, a place fitting for Han Solo. The build scenario is having outrun some TIE fighters in an asteroid field, Solo has landed on Plex to repair the Falcon. He knows not to outstay his welcome because of the many traps that the Plexonians have. And now that long-winded exposition is over with, let's start scratching that build. Now I'm not one to read or follow the instructions of a model kit, but being this the iconic Millennium Falcon, I'm going to take my time. This isn't a scale I usually work with, but I put my big boy pants on and snip away the small parts. I'm left with a pile of plastic. I carefully sand away any sprue nubs and soon get to work on the assembly. With all the pieces glued into place, it's on to the prep time of getting things ready for painting. Now I want the Falcon to be sat on a landing pad with a walkway, so I use some old card to trace out my idea. I'm going to use this, a clean dessert container, as my tower that will have the landing pad on top. Now that I know that I have the scale correct, I'll start on the walkway. This is probably the tidiest my workbench has looked in any video. I do another quick size check just to make sure that everything's looking alright, and it's on to building up the tower now. I'm going to use thin strips of packing polystyrene to add to the tower and trim off any offcuts. For the landing pad I'll use 5mm foam board, and then I'll cut out an inner circle, making sure I have a little track so it will cover the wires for the light later. I glue the original cardboard piece to the foam board piece and use the other half safety pins to make sure everything dries in place. A sheet of blue XPS foam will be the base for my diorama. That I'll just cut down to size. I cut out a hole for where the tentacle monster will appear from, and then glue that onto a foam board base. I then glue the second half of the XPS foam to the first half and leave that to dry overnight. It's been a good 24 hours and now everything is dry and set. It's time to cut off the excess. And while I do that, it's code word time. If you want to leave a comment, then incorporate the code word into your comment. And the code word is "Don't get cocky." And remember to also like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. I cut out some more XPS foam for the back piece. Then it's on to playing with electronics. Well, lighting to be precise. In hindsight, I should have used more than one light for the landing pad, but lessons learned. More is better, I suppose. I place the light in the channel and glue it into place. I mark out where I want the wires to go through on the XPS foam. And then using more of the polystyrene packing foam, I build out the wall. I used some door mesh just to cover the landing pad, and then glued the landing pad onto the dessert container. I cut some shapes into the XPS foam to make them look like rocks, and then used some scrunched up tinfoil just to give it some texture. Then to seal everything into place, I just used some black acrylic paint and some Mod Podge. For the tentacles I wanted coming out of the ground, I just wrapped some tin foil around some garden wire. I had thought about using air dry clay for this, but I'll use milliput instead. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. And that's all nicely dry, so I'm just going to add some more little tentacles to this now. While I do that, I'm going to put some names chosen at random of all my subscribers who have commented, left funny remarks and stuff like that. Just a big thank you for all your support. If you want to support the channel further, I have a membership page. For €2 a month, you'll get to see my builds weeks in advance, some special members only videos I'm in the process of making, and badges. But as always, just liking, subscribing and leaving a comment on the channel helps me out immensely. Thank you for all your support. Now that the base coat has dried, it's on to the actual painting of the diorama. I actually mixed a few colours of my own, so it starts dark grey and then goes to a lighter tone grey. I carry on the process until I'm kind of left with this. I want it to look dark and gloomy and just, I don't know, sort of like dirty sort of looking, because it's not pristine like in the Star Wars universe. This is the dark universe. Then it was onto the iconic ship itself. That was giving me squeaky bum time. I didn't use the transfers as they were too fiddly, so decided to paint the little bits and pieces on myself. So what I did was I used lots of different reference photos, and before I get comments, I know the colour may not be perfect, but so many people have done their own versions, it was difficult to get an accurate photo, as I just cancelled my Disney subscription due to the unnecessary price increase, and the fact that Paramount Plus has a lot more better programs than Disney. So to finish off, I'm just using some weathering powders just to give the engines or the fans or whatever they are that little iconic look. Then it was time to assemble the diorama. For the red goo, I used some UV resin mixed with some red ink, and then weathered up some piping to go onto the diorama. And that's it. Next are the glamour shots. So all that's left for me to say is thanks very much for stopping by, and keep scratching that build, everybody. Thanks for watching.